What a soundtrack! Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Wong, and today we are showcasing an absolutely killer car today. This is something that I've never featured before, and honestly, it's one of the most underrated cars out there. And this is it, guys. This is a 1990 Nissan Skyline R31, and this is a factory manual in sedan form. And this car honestly has been overshadowed so much in the world of Skylines. But guys, take a look at this car. There is so much character about it. And today we're gonna find out just how great this car is. We've got the owner and the man himself. This is Marc. How are you, brother?
Thank you so much.
Good to see you, man. Can you tell us a little bit about your Skyline here, man?
All right. So this car I've had for nearly 10 years now. So it was my second car ever, and I literally bought it as a daily driver.
Wow.
And yeah, it's
like this.
Not like this. Not like this. This has taken about 10 years of just, picking at it to make it is what it is today. Yeah, so pretty much bought it as a daily, and over time we just started making into a street-driven track car, if you want to call it that. This was like $1,000 back in the day, factory manual. It's a GX. $1,000.
That's literally nothing.
Yeah, it was turbo, and the guy took all the turbo stuff off for me so I could, drive it on my P's. Yep. But yeah, and then the colour was horrible. It looked like a chalkboard. It actually was an ex-rally car / autocross car as well. So it's gone through a lot of transformation, but I've tried to keep it as clean as possible. But every scratch on it tells a story. It's got dings here, and it's just very, very, credible to having such good character.
Yeah, so this car's essentially purpose built for you. You use it as a drift car, you use it as a daily.
Yeah, man. I had, over 10 of these cars, and this one was my first, and I've always kept this one. Yep. So if any car I've had has good stuff on it, it'll go on this car.
This one.
As you can tell. But
could you take us for a little tour?
Of course. Yeah.
I feel like this car has been really just slept on over the years, and
they have.
I haven't seen many on YouTube. There's not much content on it.
Not much content at all.
Man, you're going to be our Bible for today.
Hope to be. Hopefully
awesome.
I don't get anything wrong. But this is so it's a 1990. This is the last shape. This is a Series 3 shape. It is a GX, so it's a factory manual car, but it's completely, as you'd say, POV pack. So it's basic. Okay. It's got wind-up windows, no electrics. Starting at the front here, we have a projector headlights, which are very rare to get these days. These headlights I paid nothing for back in the day, but they are quite expensive. I think I paid $150 for them, and they're about $1,000 headlights now. This front bumper bar is off another coupe, hence it's got the air dam in there, which they usually have a side made intercooler from factory on the HRs.
Very S13 like.
Very S13, like yeah. Coming to the side here, we've got the Work Equip 03s. They're actually copies because at the time this car was very cheap, and I didn't want to run genuine wheels on the track because I didn't want to smash them. I was scared. So it's very cheap to replace. S13 front end conversion, very common on these cars. They transfer them to a McPherson style front end. So they're usually an old style spindle, and then this is a McPherson, bit more adjustability. Yep. It runs like a Nissan N14 Pulsar rack ends, all that stuff. And R33 control arms, a bit more lock, and just all the rack spaces, stuff like that. Here we have two VS Commodore brake calipers in there, and they are a hydraulic handbrake setup. So one set of calipers is for the hydraulic handbrake, and one is for your foot brake.
I can't help but notice you have a full half cage at the back, which looks so tough.
The interior is a Silhouette Series 2 interior.
It's got a really nice feeling on the door. It feels very
stout. Very stout, yeah.
Exactly. And look at these manual wind-up windows.
Yep. This car is very base model, but it has cruise control. It's got cruise control, which is very rare on a GX, and it works about maybe 13.5% of the time. So so it doesn't work. No, not at all.
I'm kidding.
So at the back here, very iconic looking back of these cars. Even though you don't know what these cars are, you can just tell it's a Skyline. The two-tone on this car is not factory, so the Silhouettes would come factory with a two-tone.
Right.
I actually did this in my garage with rattle cans.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, because it was tracked at the time. I just want it to be easy just to go over it again. Yeah, this is I think they're called a Platinum Glow, the color. And yeah, literally it was like $120 in rattle cans from Autobahn.
Wow. And this is actually a factory finish on the car?
Yeah, this is what would have been in the Silhouette. They come out in this two-tone color, which is very, very eye-catching as well when you start to lower and put big wheels on them. The color combo is actually quite cool.
It looks so cool. In the flesh, guys, this car just has so much street presence. It looks like it has just rolled out of Japan at one of the drift days.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, especially with the equips, the half cage.
Yeah.
Just an OEM plus kind of style.
Yeah. The only thing is the RB30s were only issued in the Australian delivered cars that came over here, and they were manufactured here as well. Yep. So you had the RB30, the pillar doors and the or door jambs, and the live axle that distinguished these cars from the others. So the Japanese ones would have no pillars. They came RB20 and they came turbocharged. These never came turbocharged. even though the VLs did, these never came turbocharged with the RB30s in them. This is as NA as it gets.
As NA as it gets. Damn, that looks cool. It looks exactly like a VL engine.
It pretty much is exactly. Hence, it's just got the Nissan rocket cover over the Holden.
Yeah, wow.
There's not much done to this. It's pretty much stock standard. We have the max speed coilovers that were sponsored to us early on when we had this as a track car. They've lasted. They've done a few track days, a few few street drifting. If there's any police watching, I was just kidding.
This car in the NA 6-cylinder form, just a super cool looking car and still very factory in terms of the engine bay.
Very factory, man.
So it's amazing to see that you're driving it like you should, drifting it, sending it, doing all that kind of stuff with an NA engine. So it just shows you how capable the R31 Skyline is in this form, and that's probably as to why car prices have shot up for the R31, right?
100%, 100%. These cars are quite in style now in terms of like, you know, TikTok's growing these cars, YouTube's growing these cars, and they are a forgotten Skyline, you know, and people want them now because they're worth something and they're getting out there, and people are putting ridiculous prices on these cars now, and everyone's paying the money for them. So it's just cool to, you know, bring on the legacy of these cars and keep them alive. A lot of them used to just get scrapped and thrown away, just like Silvias and Skylines. You know, it's cool to see them being saved, and even though they're expensive, it's just cool to see them being saved.
Of course, exactly, man. Well, I think you've done an awesome job with your R31 here. I think it's time that Marc show us essentially how this car is to drive, because, guys, that's why we're here for. Let's do it.
Hectic.
Let's do it, man. Oh, that sounds pretty menacing, guys. So we're gonna jump in the R31 Skyline. This is actually the first time that I've ever been in one. Wow. A lot of good noises straight away off the bat. That sounds good, bro.
Sounds alright.
It definitely sounds like very unconventional, because you think of a Skyline and you hear the boost, the dose, all that kind of noise that comes with a JDM tuner car. But those are 90s JDM tuner cars,
Very, very so, man. Like, you can hear there's a lot of noise in the car.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've got the rear interior gutted.
It's not that bad.
It's not too bad. Like, you got a bit of drone, but the exhaust is sort of nice. You got that flowy sound.
Yeah, very smooth in the power delivery as well.
Yeah, man.
It feels good. It feels really solid of a car.
It does.
What's your favorite aspect about driving the 31?
Probably sliding it.
Oh man, that's tempting, isn't it?
So with the locker, it just wants to kick sideways.
It feels like it's still really planted of a car.
It is.
It feels awesome. It feels more like a cruiser than I think a Silvia would.
100%. One thing about this car, like when you're just thrashing it in the hills, I just love that 6-cylinder sound, and especially when it gets nice and hot, you get big backfires and burbles, and it's very, very old school, very mechanical sound. You feel very one with the car.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
You can hear the diff, you can hear all the noise in the back, or you can hear everything, you know.
Yeah. But it's still not that rattly. It's still not as bad as left. Yeah, it's still not as bad as, dare I say it, the other Nissans out there.
Yeah.
To be honest, I feel like the interior is quite put together.
Yeah, they're not bad.
It's good. It's really good, and of course you've got cruise control.
Yes.
And
if you notice here, when we go straight, so my steering wheel is on a big angle. So if we yank it to the right a bit, like that, there we go, straight. So because of all the track days I've done, the steering rack bushes are pretty well gone. So when you turn, the steering rack's actually sliding. So I've got to replace them because they've been abused.
Well, hopefully we make it
we'll be
in
fine.
this drive, and we survive to live to see another day. I can't believe it. This car is NA. Still, you can do crazy shit like that.
And that's on pretty fat semi-slicks too.
Wow.
They got a bit of heat into them as well. So
it's definitely stickier.
Yeah.
But that's just a tribute to how capable the Skyline is.
Oh yeah. If I had the old diff ratio in it, I could drop second gear there easy. It'll just fry them.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. But with the longer ratio now, it's just accelerates a bit slower, but more street friendly.
For sure.
But if it's wet, like these cars love the wet weather.
Oh yeah.
It'll just hold the top a second and then click into third, and it'll just munge you.
That's insane, because Guys, at the end of the day, this is a street car, and Mark loves to drive it out on the street, just cruising, grip driving, whatever the case may be, maybe even sending it on the track for a skid pan day. You know,
good all-rounder.
Exactly, it's a good all-rounder, and it's just an awesome experience to see what the Skyline is all about.
Well, how about we pull over and you have a drive?
Oh man, that'd be absolutely awesome.
No worries,
I don't think I've driven an 80s car in a really long time.
Well, it's time.
I'm so keen, guys. Killer!
Hello.
Hello. Right, guys, finally driving the R31. So
welcome.
This is going to be pretty exciting. Never driven one of these before. And we get to find out everything about the Skyline. Oh, feels good.
Yeah. You'll feel the locker.
Oh, very easy to drive though, to be honest.
It is, yeah.
This is insane. So, the most similar car that I've driven to... Look at my steering.
Yeah.
Guys, it's not straight. The most similar car that I've driven to an R31 is my mate Sasha's VL Turbo. Because it shares an RB30.
How much power was that making?
I think it was about 400 with a 5-speed. That was sick.
Fantastic.
To drive.
Fantastic.
Let's go, guys. Let's go this way. See how this thing is. Right. This is pretty cool. First impression, guys. A lot of noise. That soundtrack is really... Oh, the steering.
You feel the steering, the vagueness.
Oh my god.
The vagueness in the steering wheel.
It's a little bit all over the shop with the steering.
Yeah.
But I mean...
See, I'm so used to that, so...
It's a really cool feeling though, like... You gotta be really switched on when you're driving this car. Not in the sense that it's trying to kill you. I guess it kinda is.
It sort of wants to. It's heavy, man. How do you do this? Can I hold it with 2 hands, or is that alright?
Yeah, you can hold it closer up if you feel.
Yeah.
And you can just talk behind camera if that's easier.
How do you feel? It's a good shot.
Oh, that's a sick shot,
Yeah.
man. As it is though, the naturally aspirated engine of the RB30. What a soundtrack. It's such a unique, I think, noise to come from a Skyline, because typically you'd expect, the steering is catching me off guard. Typically you'd expect, you know, the turbo, the dose. It still feels really planted over cargo. Oh man, the burbles in this thing, man.
How good are the noises?
Such a good soundtrack. It's definitely a car that you build the momentum in and you just drive it
100%.
like a track car, really. It's like an old school NA, back to basics, rear-wheel drive, manual sports car in a Skyline, a 4-door Skyline.
Feels good to be passenger.
How does it feel?
Weird.
Does it?
It's weird. Doesn't feel like I'm in my own car.
Man, this thing sounds sick.
I love being next to the cliff.
Oh, it definitely wants to slide out. The lock is definitely kicking in. But guys, even cruising, there's just so much feedback and sensations from this car. It's different to a Silvia, I think, in this Skyline. It still has a sense of refinement, even though, you know, you mentioned it was very stiff, rough. I like it. It's got a sense of livability that I think most Silvias don't really have when you go down this path of modification. Like, guys, Marc drifts this car balls to the wall, crazy. I've seen some of his content, and guys, be sure to check it out if you haven't already done so.
Thank you so much, man.
Nah, honestly, man.
Appreciate
You've got some crazy cars out here.
Thank you, man.
And to see that your Skyline means up there with one of the best cars that you've had.
Oh, man.
I can kind of see it. Honestly, I see it.
It's an honor.
Oh, this sounds very much like an old school 240Z with that noise.
Oh, yeah.
And the pops and bags. Woo. And guys, as it is in pretty much stock standard form for the engine, you can do some crazy shit with this car.
There's so much tunability in these cars, man. Like, this is only the very, very bottom of what you can do.
That's crazy. You've done everything else but the engine.
As much as I can.
And the presence, the way this car looks, the aesthetics. I think you've built an absolute gem, and
Thank you so much, man.
You've really showcased the R31 in a way that not many people have. So
thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, man.
Healing and towing in this thing, it honestly feels like a Honda, really.
Oh yeah.
It kind of pulls a heartstring in the way that you just gotta rev this thing out. What does it rev out to?
About 7,000.
7.
Yeah, about 7,000.
Man, I didn't even ask you, but how much power does this motor make from factory?
Factory, they're 114 kilowatts at the engine, so not much.
Okay.
Not much.
Not much, but you don't really need it in a car that weighs what, 1,100 kilos?
Yeah, they don't weigh much at all.
It's such a unique experience because
it's good. I like hearing it from this point of view because the exhaust is closer to my side, and I'm used to being on the driver's side, so it's good to hear all the pops and crackles.
Yeah, man. Oh, it's so unique. I just love the throw. It's nice and long. The steering takes a little bit more turn in than you'd expect, but something that's just very welcome because, you know, typically you go think of a driver's car, Sylvia, whatever, Honda, it just points, it just turns into the corner, whereas this, you gotta finesse it. And I like that extra style that you have to drive when it comes to driving this car.
Oh yeah.
Even different to a 32, whether it be it a GTST or a GDR, very different cars.
Very different indeed, man.
And you've got an R32 GTST.
GTST, it's got a RB30 in it.
How does it compare, I guess, relatively with that?
They're such different cars, man. Like this being the NA, you got to drive it hard.
It's beautiful.
But the 32, you just feather the throttle and the 25 does the work for you.
It just kicks in and
so
you're
smooth
off to the races,
and
right?
oh yeah.
You mentioned it makes 100 and something kilowatts of power from the crank, but honestly, I don't even care about the power right now.
Oh no.
The feel, everything's just so alive.
The power of these cars, mate, like this probably makes a little bit more, having the intake exhaust, the head studs, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And this is lower compression than usual too.
Yeah. It's such a nice cruiser, a hill run mounted kind of car.
Cheers.
And guys, we haven't even seen it in drift form.
Maybe one day if you come to the track.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Definitely gonna
build your
have
own
to do
track
that.
car and then come for a skid.
Oh, I'm itching for that. Man, thank you so much for this opportunity.
No, honestly, man, it's been such a pleasure to have you review this car. It's the first collab I've ever done, so I appreciate it.
Oh man, I hope many more to come because
100%, man.
Marc has some crazy cars. And you're definitely going to be seeing more of him on the channel as well. So guys, let me know what you think of Marc's crazy R31 Skyline. I personally think it's an iconic looking car, especially being a Skyline, guys. Yes, it's a Skyline. Like that's still, I think, foreign for a lot of people to think about.
Yeah.
Guys, this thing is so cool. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to smash that thumbs up button. Give a subscribe to Marc over here because he has some awesome cars that you guys definitely have to go check out.
Thank you, man.
And as well as that, guys, consider subscribing to the channel and I'll see you in the next one.
See you guys.